The media is the world's worst interviewer of JD Vance, and he kicks their butt all around the block. I'm John Mike Keane. JD Vance, what a great asset. Republicans are happy Trump picked him as the VP, and he lays down some truth. But first, let's watch him run these phone banks. He's been working hard this weekend, making calls.
Hello, who am I speaking to? Hey, Vicky. My name is JD Vance. I'm running for vice president along with my running mate Donald Trump, and I wanted to call you and encourage you to vote for us.
He actually went and personally called people, and they can't believe it. They're so starstruck. Here's Taylor Van Kirk. JD Vance makes calls asking voters to support the Trump-Vance ticket at the Gwinnett County Trump Force 47 field office.
It is really him, I promise. As far as I know. Yeah, so I either I'm the best sound alike in the world, or it's really me. So I guess. So Vicky, I have to ask: have you voted yet, or are you planning on voting?
I just wanted to show you all those happy volunteers. They're doing this is old school groundwork for Republicans to do before an election. These are the hardworking people. Pray for them. Thank the Lord for them. I admire them so much. But people I don't admire is this. I believe this is the New York Times or New York Post. This lady, they can only ask one question of JD Vance. Can you guess it? Here it is.
In the debate, you were asked to clarify if you believe Trump lost the 2020 election. Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here with focusing on 2020. I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020, which is a wide open border, groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator, yes or no?
Okay.
Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Now, I don't mind that the New York Times reporter does a follow-up and keeps trying to pin him down and just get a yes or no question. I know what that's like because we've seen it with the Democrats so much, where you can't get a yes or no question out of them. But they are having two different conversations. Hers is focused on the past, and JD Vance, who's not obliged to answer a question, he's here to win an election. And so he stays on the subject that counts and matters to the voter, which is not 2020. It's what is happening on the ground right now. But if you're going to talk about censorship, the Democrats have more to answer for than Trump. About election denial, Democrats have more to answer for than Trump. And election interference, Democrats have everything to answer for versus Trump.
let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent analysis have said cost Donald Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
I love that he's not going to give her that answer. He may even believe that Trump did lose the election. I think he's fine with that. By the way, you don't have to believe that, but he's not going to give her that answer because then the interview's over. She got her, yes, he won the election and Vance is against Trump and Trump's a liar and all that. He's not going to give her that. Smart move, JD Vance. Don't give this hack what she wants for the New York Times.
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
And I've answered your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know. There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying.
Oh man, he's hammering her. He's interviewing her back and showing her how it's done. And I love it. She keeps going to the conclusion where you're like, there's no evidence, there's no this, there's no that. He's like, I don't care. I answered your question with a question. And she will not answer his question. Why should he answer hers?
Which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something very discrete, a problem of censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020. And more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's governance, which is screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I would have voted against certification because of the concern that I just raised. I think that when you have technology companies...
The answer is no.
When you have technology companies...
She goes, the answer is no. Okay, I got my answer. Whew! This article's over, everybody. All done. That was easy. She's not there to interview him and draw information out. She already wrote the whole article. She just had to check a box. Did he say yes or no? You know, everything that he says after that about the election, he's not going to do. By the way, it is true that burying the Hunter laptop story, they did studies on it and said that it probably affected the election. By the media burying that story gave Biden enough of an edge to edge out Trump. So he brings that up, and she's not going to take credit for that. So she doesn't care. If she doesn't care, he shouldn't care.
Censoring Americans at a mass scale in a way that, again, independent studies have suggested affect the vote. I think that it's right to protest against that, to criticize that, and that's a totally reasonable thing.
So the answer is no.
So the answer is no. Okay. Forget everything you just told me. I'm not going to write it down, JD, but I just got my answer is no.
And the last question, will you support the election results this time and commit to a peaceful transfer of power?
Well, first of all, of course, we commit to a peaceful transfer of power. We are going to have a peaceful transfer of power. I, of course, believe that peaceful transfer of power is going to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States. But if there are problems, of course, in the same way that Democrats protested in 2004 and Donald Trump raised issues in 2020,
yeah, the Democrats, they question elections all the time. That's all he's doing is fact checking her. And when Trump wins, you just watch. This lady will not ask them why they will not confirm the election. She's not going to go after them and call them election deniers and interview them 4 years after the election like she did to him, that they will not certify the election. 4 years from now, the Democrats won't be asked by the New York Times why they won't certify the election. So this is, she's just a hack.
We're going to make sure that this election counts, that every legal ballot is counted. We've filed almost 100 lawsuits at the RNC to try to ensure that every legal ballot has counted. I think you would maybe criticize that.
Yeah, she'd criticize that. They don't want legal ballots. They want illegals voting. They want anyone to vote. That's what she wants because they just want a win. They don't care. They want to win. And the press will cover it up. So hats off to JD Vance. Here he is back at the phone center.
Okay, well, that's very good to hear, Vicki. We're thrilled to have your support and thrilled to have you vote. We got another one, folks.
They got one. Have you voted yet? Are you ready? Get in on early voting. If you insist on voting in person, go early vote. Do not put pressure on that election center close to election day. Get in early, get your vote. Call your Republican representative if you need to register and get that stuff taken care of now. Hurry. I'm John Mike Kane.